And I was going to ask you, when you started talking about bricks and using aquaponic water, do you still have access to that aquaponic water?
So I was raising trout at the time. I had some rainbows and brown trout, and
Okay.
I had a few hundred gallons of trout going, and so that was more biologically active, and I just started in this last month. I just started uh, with some koi fish. And
Okay.
so it's not at the point where I'm gonna, really call it aquaponic water yet. There's just, um, there's not a lot of activity in there. There's still like little fry almost.
Okay.
So I'm working on it. I'm working on it. But another couple months, I should have something that then I would be calling. To me, it's like the fish aren't producing enough waste and biology to really say that it's aquaponics. I mean, I know it is because I'm watering with their wastewater, but the trout was like. The water needed to be cleaned. It's like when I do my water changes now, the water still looks clean, and so it doesn't have the effect. And man, I've used damn near every nutrient brand that's ever been made. I mean, there's not many brands that you could name that I haven't tried. Um, and I don't think anything's ever worked as good as bitch and aquaponic water. I mean, you can go in later that day or the next day, and just the plants are just vibrating. It's just amazing. So I'm really excited to get back to that.
Yeah, well, in the meantime, you got fishbrew.com. You can hit them up. They've got a number of different products, everything from Bold Flow, which is unscreened. It's got a tremendous amount of organic matter in it, so food for the biology that's living in it, down to the Rise and Thrive, which you can actually use in a aquaponic system. It won't. They've screened out a lot of the organic matter. And then another one that I've been using lately, which I really love, is the Trifecta. Now, the Trifecta is a blend of trout water and barramundi water. Now, barramundi live in a brackish water, so it's more salty, and people freak out about salt. But I'm like, no, you don't have to worry about this salt. This is not a salt that's going to end up building up. But what the benefit you're going to get from it is the salt-loving and salt-tolerant bacteria that can survive in that environment, help to push the salt particles off of your cation exchange sites, and let it move or flush down deeper into the soil where it can affect your roots. So they've got every tool for the tricks that you need. And so, if you're short right now on your koi operation, then just get a quart of that stuff and start applying it to really get back to those high bricks. Because again, with that level of bricks, you're also producing those minor cannabinoids off the fucking chart, dude. I mean, the weed is just so much better when you're growing in a living soil, and using these types of tools.
What
And I mean,
Go ahead.
I meant to say living soils, not soilless media.
Right, right. So trifecta, trout, barramundi, and is there something else, or is there a different way
There
they came up
used
with that name?
he used to breed bass for a little while, so at one point, there was a little bit of bass manure as well. I didn't notice a big difference, to be honest with you, when he was mixing the bass and the trout water together, and that was in Bold Flow. But when you buy any of the products, you're going to get a blend. Um, I don't think I don't think the Bold Flow has any barramundi water in it. I think only Trifecta has that. So if you're looking for salt tolerant organisms, like I'm out in California now, so all the soils out here are very, very sodic. The water has a tremendous amount of salt in it. The soil has been fertilized for a long fucking time, because you can grow year round out here. So you're constantly putting in crops and you're constantly feeding them NPK, so that salt level is just through the roof in these soils. And then you start to see that the crops are suffering. You're not getting the yields you used to. And then how do you deal with that? Well, the only way to deal with that is to have these microbes that can handle that. Now, could we harvest them in nature? Absolutely. We would go to what I call Mother Nature's uterus, wherever a river meets an ocean. But unfortunately, our rivers are so fucking polluted, not to mention our oceans, where the rivers meet the ocean is usually developed. Look at all the major cities, like Washington D.C., the Potomac, Boston, Charles River, New York. You got the East and the what's the other river? The two rivers come together. So we've destroyed the uterus where we could be getting these organisms to on scale to apply on fields and scale. So unfortunately, I don't suggest that anymore to people. Is to actually harvest there, unless you're living like Shango on a friggin' island where
Right.
you don't have industry, or you can travel to a place like somewhere in Washington or Oregon where it's not very much developed. Then you
Even,
can actually harvest.
even here in Montana, I had problems sourcing all the living soil, the horizontal, inputs. Um, I had access to everything pretty much, but some of it was stuff that you wouldn't trust. Um, and so, yeah, we had to. we had to buy a little bit of inputs, but we got to use most of them. And then I guess before I jump off, because we're gonna go down a little rabbit hole with the silt.